Tensions are soaring high as the conflict between Israel and Hamas escalates. This isn't a clash of mere opposites. Rather, it's a complex and intricate dance of power, politics, and territorial claims, with the city of Rafah caught in the crossfire. The war is intensifying, with the fate of Rafah hanging in the balance. Israel's IDF is mulling over a final assault on the city, aiming to dismantle the Hamas leadership and rescue hostages. On the other hand, Hamas may choose to release hostages and seek exile, a move that would dramatically alter the course of the conflict. But this isn't a one-sided story. The conflict has resulted in significant casualties and destruction on both sides. The human toll is mounting, and so too is the pressure on Israeli leadership to end the war. Yet the question remains, at what cost? As we turn our gaze to the international stage, we see a growing divide between the US and Israel, particularly between President Biden and Prime Minister Netanyahu. Biden advocates for a two-state solution, a diplomatic approach aimed at promoting peace and moderate Palestinian leadership. Meanwhile, Netanyahu remains steadfast in his rejection, citing recent attacks as proof of the inherent dangers. He insists on maintaining Israeli security control over the region, rejecting calls for territorial changes. His vow to proceed with the Rafah invasion underscores the escalating tension and the stark contrast in approaches. This conflict is more than a territorial dispute. It's a clash of ideologies, a struggle for power and control, and a test of diplomacy and resilience. As each side stands firm in their position, the potential for a decisive moment looms ever closer. With mounting pressure on both sides, a decisive confrontation over Rafah seems inevitable. But as we wait for this showdown, we must not lose sight of the human cost of this battle, the lives caught in the crossfire, and the urgent need for a resolution that goes beyond mere victory. The path to the Rafah invasion is a complex tapestry of events, decisions, and confrontations. The threads of this narrative weave a story of conflict, political maneuvering, and an ever-looming threat of war. Let's unravel this tale from the beginning. In the heart of the Israeli-Hamas conflict lies the city of Rafah. Its fate has been the subject of intense deliberation and strategic planning. Israel's defense forces, commonly known as the IDF, have been considering a final assault on the city. The objective? To eliminate Hamas leadership and rescue the hostages that have been caught in this crossfire. But the story doesn't end there. Hamas, on the other hand, has been weighing its options. The group has contemplated releasing the hostages and seeking exile, a move that could potentially defuse this ticking time bomb. But the question remains, will this be enough to prevent the invasion? Caught in the middle of this escalating conflict are the international actors. Among them, President Biden has played a pivotal role. He has urged Israel to avoid a direct confrontation in Rafah without a comprehensive plan to evacuate civilians. The call for caution comes in the wake of significant casualties and destruction on both sides, a grim reminder of the cost of war. Yet, the unfolding events have also exposed a growing divide between the United States and Israel, particularly between President Biden and Prime Minister Netanyahu. The divergence in their views is stark. While Biden advocates for a two-state solution, Netanyahu rejects it outright. Citing recent attacks, he argues that these incidents underscore the inherent dangers associated with such a proposal. The United States sees the conflict as an opportunity to promote peace and moderate Palestinian leadership. However, these ambitions are challenged by Hamas's rejectionist stance. Despite these obstacles, the U.S. remains hopeful for a peaceful resolution. Meanwhile, Netanyahu stands firm on maintaining Israeli security control over the region. He dismisses calls for territorial changes, leading to heightened tensions and a potential showdown in Rafah. The stage is set, the players are in position, and the fate of Rafah hangs in the balance. As we delve deeper into this intricate narrative, we find ourselves caught in the whirlwind of events that have led us to the brink of the Rafah invasion. What lies ahead is uncertain, but what is clear is that the path to the invasion is a testament to the complexities of this conflict. In the heart of this escalating conflict lies the city of Rafah, now the focal point of this intense showdown. Pressure had been mounting on the city of Rafah, a potential decisive moment looming over its fate. The conflict between Israel and Hamas was intensifying, with Israel's IDF considering a final assault on the city with the objective of eliminating Hamas leadership and rescuing hostages. On the other hand, Hamas had the option to release hostages and seek exile, a move that would certainly alter the course of the conflict significantly. As tensions escalated, international voices became more prominent. President Biden urged Israel to avoid a direct confrontation in Rafah without a plan to evacuate civilians, emphasizing the importance of preserving innocent lives amidst the battle. This underscored the growing divide between the U.S. and Israel, particularly with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who remained firm on maintaining Israeli security control over the region. The invasion of Rafah was not a simple military operation. It was a complex situation that involved careful strategizing from both sides, a delicate balance of power, and a constant reevaluation of the potential consequences. The immediate aftermath of the invasion saw significant casualties and destruction. The city of Rafah bore the brunt of this conflict, its streets bearing witness to the harsh realities of war. The Rafah invasion was a significant chapter in this ongoing conflict. It was a testament to the complexities of the situation, the diverging viewpoints of the involved parties, and the high stakes at play. Yet, amidst this turmoil, the resilience of the city's inhabitants shone through, a beacon of hope in these trying times. The Rafah invasion, a significant chapter in this ongoing conflict, has left its mark on the city and its people. In the wake of the Rafah invasion, the potential aftermath is as uncertain as it is concerning. The fallout from these events could have profound implications, not only for Israel and Hamas, but also for the international community. The political landscape may shift dramatically, both within Israel and across the globe. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, adamant about maintaining Israeli security control over the region, may face increased scrutiny and pressure, both domestically and internationally. His firm stance, despite calls for territorial changes, could potentially isolate Israel from its long-standing allies. Hamas, on the other hand, may find themselves in a precarious position. Their rejectionist stance and potential exile could be detrimental to their influence and power. The fate of the hostages, should they be released, could also play a critical role in shaping the future of this conflict. Socially, the invasion's aftermath could deepen the schism between Israelis and Palestinians, making the path to peace even more challenging. The human toll, the loss of life, and infrastructure could sow seeds of resentment that may take generations to heal. The international community would also have to grapple with the refugee crisis and humanitarian concerns that are likely to emerge from this conflict. Economically, the cost of war is always high. Israel, Hamas, and the international community could face significant financial burdens due to the destruction caused by the invasion. These economic pressures could further exacerbate the conflict, creating a vicious cycle of violence and economic instability. The potential for further escalation cannot be ruled out. However, amidst the rubble and ruins, the possibility of peace still flickers. This conflict could serve as a catalyst for renewed efforts towards peace and the promotion of moderate Palestinian leadership. But the road to peace is fraught with challenges. The primary obstacle remains the divergent views on a two-state solution, with the U.S. advocating for it while Netanyahu rejects it. It's a complex issue that requires not just political will, but also a commitment to dialogue and compromise. As the dust settles in Rafah, the question remains, what's next for Israel, Hamas, and the wider region?